Gurudev would, when I would go and see him, he would hug me a lot. And at that time there was very few people. We could go into his room and talk with him freely, and he would discuss different things about Manjari Bhav and Gopi Bhav and like this. So this is very important between the Guru and the disciple, is that the Guru is like Vishramba, Seva. He was teaching us from the very moment we had contact with him, because that's his service to Krishna, is to teach, to show. Acharya means that they're teachers. So he was teaching us from that very moment about intimacy, because when the Guru leaves the planet, or during the time of the Guru's presence, if there's no intimacy, the disciple can't make very much advancement, especially in bhakti, because our whole program is to have emotion or feelings. This we didn't even kind of consider in ISKCON society. Of course, it's naturally there, but what does that mean? What does emotion mean? Real spiritual emotion, what does it mean? So Gurudev, over the years, he was teaching us through Upadeshamrita, through Bhajan Rahasya. He would teach us constantly through his whole lifetime how to practice and what the different stages are of bhakti. So very important for the relationship of the Guru and disciple. Tadvidi paripratena, paripashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam. Service. First of all, you should, if you don't have now, or if you have a Guru now, you should have a direct, intimate service for him, whatever it may be. And then the Guru will impart knowledge unto you. And then inquiry will come. We should not think, Gurudev said many times, that these thoughts, ideas are all coming from, everything rests on the Guru. All advancement, all increase, all thoughts, all conceptions are coming from the Guru's heart. If we don't have that connection with Gurudev and he's not pleased, he can inject his mood into your heart. For instance, one time there was a controversy about Srila Prabhupada giving Diksha mantras over tape, and they were saying, well, you weren't really initiated by Srila Prabhupada in Diksha mantra because you didn't hear it directly in your ear. So this is one controversy that arose at a particular time. So I went to Srila Gurudeva and I asked him, I said, so I didn't hear mantra from Prabhupada in my ear, so does that mean I didn't get Diksha mantra? And he said, so what do you think? And I said, I feel like I got initiated by Srila Prabhupada through Diksha mantras. So he said, okay, no problem then. He said, but you come to my room and I will explain the Diksha mantras to you personally into your ear, because he kind of felt that I needed to hear that. And so I went into his room one day. During lunch, he was about ready to take lunch. So I went into his room, it was just me and him. It was very intimate, very nice. And he said, okay, he's sitting on his bed. He goes, sit here. And I sat down. I mean, he was so, authoritative, It was like, Gurudev was very strict and rigid. So sit here. And he began to explain to me the Diksha mantras. Brahma Gayatri, Guru Mantra, and all the mantras. So, by practical example, he injected into me his emotion, his feelings for his Gurudev, which totally overwhelmed me. He began to explain, and he almost crying, this impression that he gave me about his love for his Gurudev, because he was giving that to me. So I also had that feeling for Gurudev through my whole life. I felt very much connected to him. because the Guru gives his heart to you. Like Prabhupada. Prabhupada may not have had real intimate association with all his followers because he didn't have time. But in these early days, Gurudev had lots of time and less people. He could concentrate on a small group and give himself freely to his followers at that time. So anyone who wants to have intimate association, they can not only have it physically or verbally or visually, but just by reading and hearing the Shastras. Prabhupada said in Nectar of Devotion classes that if you read the Shastra of Rupa Goswami or any of the Goswamis, it's like directly serving them. That is why we make advancement. So therefore, hearing, inquiry, and submission is very, very important. And intimate loving seva, which Gurudev taught us. He also said, if you don't have any intimacy with the Guru and you can't even cry for the Guru, how can you cry for Radha and Krishna, which is our ultimate goal? So the ultimate goal is like Raghunath Das Goswami. He's a sadhak, in a sadhak stage. He was surely a siddha. Gurudev was surely a siddha. But his internal mood was as a perfected soul. But to show us by example, he was in Radha Kund, rolling in the banks, crying constantly, and praying to Radha and Krishna. So because he had intimacy with Rupa Goswami, as Gurudev told, he took his teachings wholly in our heart. So if we don't absorb or abide by these teachings and the heartly feelings coming from the Guru, how can we have feelings for Radha and Krishna? This is Gurudev's teaching.
Narayana gave me Harinam. Because in 1981, because in those days he wasn't giving Diksha because Acharya was Srila Bhaman Goswami Maharaj.
Right.
So the Bhaman Goswami Maharaj gave me Diksha on Premanand Prabhu's recommendation in 1989.
Wow.
That's quite a long story because I always wanted to meet Srila Bhaman Maharaj, but every time I went to India, I missed him. A couple of times I went. If I heard he was in Calcutta, I went to Calcutta. He'd gone. And then he went to Puri, I went to Puri, he'd gone. So in 1989, finally, I met him and I spent lots of time with him. And he gave me my Diksha with another god brother of mine, who is Tapasi Maharaj. And he gave me a choice of 3 names. Tapasi, Tapati and Tapasvi. And I said, Guruji, you give me whatever you want. I can't choose because they're all very nice. So then Guruji said, Tapasvi, Tapasi, I'll give you Tapasi because you're very austere, you know. And we had some lovely, I used to arrange flowers for him in his room every day. That was my seva for him. And when I first met Guruji, I said to him, I said, after so many years of trying to meet you, I've met you after all, you know. And Premanand Prabhu had recommended, he sent a letter with me to him, you know. Actually, to be honest, I can't even remember what day it was or what, but it was sometime in December. My Diksha took place. I must ask Tapasvi Maharaj when exactly. And Guru Maharaj always used to tell me you have to learn Bengali, and I started learning a bit. Then I don't know anything now, just a little bit. And the simple reason he asked me to learn Bengali was that he gave me an instruction on my Diksha. They said, you have to learn to cry. You will not get mercy of Mahaprabhu if you don't learn to cry. Guru Maharaj told me this. And also he gave me another very important, not instruction, but instruction as well as a realization, because I think every disciple has from the Guru Maharaj, but I do. He told me I must serve Krishna as my son. Completely opposite to the Gaudiya Math vichar, you know, the thought. And and I was a little bit upset. I was a little bit, but I want to be like a gopi, you know. I want to do gopi bhav stuff and all this and that, you know. I was thinking like that, and then Guruji immediately said to me, if you try to be something that is not natural to you, then it becomes an offense. But I can see that your relationship with Krishna is like Mother Yashoda's. So you must look after your Thakurji very nicely, like a mother, like a parent. So I thought, okay, you know, and it was Niṣkiñcana Prabhu who was his sevak at the time. And so after that, so many other God brothers even said to me, said, this is not our Gaudiya Math Vichar, but we are so lucky, at least he's given you that connection with Krishna, in what mood I should be worshipping.
I was thinking about how he's made himself so available to everybody. Like he really reached out, and maybe not in the way you expected or how it was going to be, but he always was like, he was always there when you needed, always, always, always. And remembering one time that this girl, she was going to go soon to Europe. She was from South America, and she last minute was panicking and felt like she needed to talk to Gurudev. And it was the night, I was after Kartik, it was the night before he was leaving for the tour. We went to Mathura. You know, we begged Maharaja, please, just a short darshan, this and that. No, 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 I'm packing, it's over, forget it. No more darshans, like it's over, you know. And so she was kind of heartbroken, and we were sitting like just outside Gurudev's door, and I was like, well, what would you say to him? Like, what were you thinking? Like, just trying to help her, you know, pacify her heart a little bit. And I'm sitting there looking at her, and then kind of behind her, all of a sudden, from Gurudev's door, this chadar tied around his hat like a little grandma. This head sticks out, looks left, looks right, and just like slips out the door. And I say, come on, you know, and we ran up, and she was able to speak to him, and he was just so sweet, so affectionate. And then he just went down to the temple room and gave class, and it was so hilarious because about maybe 20 minutes later, Maharaja comes running down the stairs like, what's happened, you know? No class, no darshans, and Gurudev like slipped out the door, and has, you know, made all of us so happy for last darshan, last moment with him before he left for the tour.
In fact, I didn't know Gurudev at all. And for years I have wanted to be initiated by Srila Gurudeva Maharaj. But then it was always delayed, so it never really happened. And so he left in '96. And I was wondering, do I have a guru? Who is my guru? I need a guru. So at that time I was living here in this area of France. And Bhaktivedanta Maharaj was visiting quite often. So I was thinking, he will be my guru. But then one day, one friend of mine, one boy, he told me, Srila Maharaj is going to New Mayapur, and one girl, she wants to go. So I didn't know him at all, and my mind was fixed on Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. But then one day, someone lent me a tape of Gurudev. So I heard this tape. There was a lot of challenging questions. I think it was in Holland, devotees, first time they met him. And also I heard he'd been a policeman, so I was a bit doubtful. Anyway, and another time we met at some other devotees to have some program, you know, and one boy is a bit challenging, you know, so he brought a book about Gurudev, and in this book it was said that a genuine guru is when someone, we are many people, and we feel like we have a connection, very personal connection with him, although there are many people in the room. So I was thinking, well, that's interesting. And anyway, so this girl, she wanted to go to New Mayapur, so I had a car. So I brought her there. I had my children. I had my son, he was 2 years old, and Braja. The other one he was 10. So we arrived there in New Mayapur, and New Mayapur is the ISKCON temple. So they didn't allow Gurudev to speak in the temple room. Although there have been a lot of videos of Gurudev going to New Mayapur in '97. And there is one video, it's so beautiful. It's in the temple, Srila Gurudev offering his Dandavat pranams to the Thakurdjis. It's just like a dream. It's so beautiful. He and other devotees with him, the Bhajana Prabhu and others. Very nice. But anyway, so he was because there used to be a Gurukul in New Mayapur. So there are many, I don't know, you say mobile home, you say that also? Mobile home, many mobile homes. So in one of them, he could, it was arranged, he could speak. And also some devotees in New Mayapur, they have personal houses. So one devotee, Savadashi Prabhu, he was there a few days ago. Maharaja, he remembered him. So he hosted Gurudev in his house. So that was the arrangement. And then, so first time I entered this mobile home, a very beautiful Vyasasan, decorated, you know, with like a orisen cloth, you know. And Gurudev was there, and then all the boys were there, and all the girls were there. And I was thinking, wow, it's just like, it must be like in Srila Prabhupada's time, you know, everybody at Gurudev's feet. And I was feeling like brotherhood, you say, mood. Everybody was nice and kind. And one evening, one boy was going around, Kunja Bihari Prabhu, I think he's Canadian, or and he had a book. And he was writing down names in the book. So I was surprised, so I approached him. And there was one girl, and he was asking to this girl, because in New Mayapur many ISKCON gurus, they come, sannyasis, you know, so many. Kunja Bihari Prabhu, he asked this girl, why you want this Maharaja as your guru? And then she said, that's the Maharaja I have in my heart. She said like this. Sorry. So she was maybe 13, 14. You know. So I asked him, I said, well, can the children be initiated? He said, yes. So I said, well, can my son be initiated? He said, yes. So my son was there, Sunanda, and so I wrote down his name. And then Shuddha Maharaj, elder boy, what's his name? Nandu, well, his eldest son, he was coming along on a bicycle. I'm going to be initiated, I'm going to be initiated. And then my son said, me too, me too. And then I said, oh, can I be initiated also? And he said, yes, okay. And then he said, so tomorrow you have to come at 7 o'clock at this Prabhu's house. So there is a big temple here, the castle, and Savadashi Prabhu's house is at the other end, you know, in the field. 7 o'clock in the morning. So, wow, initiation. Wow. And then when you get initiated, you need to be recommended. Mm-hmm. That's what I heard. So the only devotee I knew was Shuddha Maharaj, and I'd been a bit away, you know, from the devotees for a few years. So I went to ask him, but he had a headache, couldn't see him, you know, it was hard, what to do. So I was going here and there, and then I met Brinda Didi, and I asked her, and I'm a bit worried because Gurudev, I mean, I can be initiated, but I need a recommendation. And then she said, okay, I can recommend you. I can see he has accepted you, because we went to this mobile home, and Gurudev started to call the devotees, and I already had beads, so I had given him my beads, and he had chanting he had chanted on my beads. So he was giving us our beads. And then it was so incredibly nice of Gurudev, because he gave me this name Narayani, and he explained, you know, that Narayani, she's the niece of Srivas, and when she was little, she was 5 years old, and she was getting Mahaprasad directly from Mahaprabhu's hands. So it was very warming, you know, very kind of him.